We've got barbecue back here. You're all invited. Welcome to the Sloopcast. How are we doing today, Kyle?
Doing all right, Jared. Doing all right. How are you doing today?
Doing good, doing good. I'm exhausted. I've been doing yard work all weekend, but it's a new tradition. It's a good tradition. Oh, it's foaming. It's doing the foaming thing.
Stay on Jared's part.
Yeah, I'll take that blame. I'll take that blame. Absolutely, that is my bad. I will take that blame. How are you doing? I already asked you how you're doing. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
I forgot how to podcast for a moment. For a moment, my brain turned off and I forgot how to podcast. That's what happened. Straight up, that's what happened. If I was professional, I'd restart the podcast, but I'm not. So here we are. Also, I already cracked the beer. Can't restart the podcast if I already cracked the beer. What you gonna do?
You can't. So what are we talking about today, Jared?
We are talking about the playoff model. There was conversation like right after national title game, or maybe about the time of the national title game, about how they're going to take the current 12 team model, which I'm mostly a fan of. I do like the 12 team model. And then they're going to expand it to 14 teams, which we'll talk about that. And then just last week, there was reporting that a 16 team proposal is gaining traction. So we're going to look at the proposals. We're going to talk about the proposals, and we're going to give our opinions, whether they're good or not. And I have two ideas for how I'd like to see the playoff model either be tweaked or totally revamped.
All right.
So Kyle, let me ask you this question first and foremost. How aside from the fact that Ohio State won, let's take that bias out of it.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen the 12 team playoff once. What are your thoughts on it?
It's so hard to really judge it based off of just one.
Sure.
Mainly because there's so many different sides you could take. You can take the one side of, oh, well, if you have a bye, you're in a disadvantage there.
It's been a conversation for a long time in the NFL if the bye is actually an advantage. I will say yes, because it's a game you don't have to play. We can talk about how long the break is and if there should be rescheduling as far as maybe the first round should be moved, or the thing is though, they're going to stay pretty lock steady, I think, on making sure the bowl games are still involved. Blah, 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 blah. Because God forbid the bowl games. But that's part of the problem, is that the playoffs should start sooner. But the bowl games. So they want to try and make, they want to integrate the bowl games, which means that second round is going to have to take place in and around January 1st. I would say, who cares? I don't have a lot of love for the bowl games and how they keep screwing up the college football postseason, and how they've screwed up the college football postseason for the past, 40 years. But, I've been saying this for a long time, and I know I was saying this during the playoffs and how great the playoffs. I think the 12 team playoff really was great. And part of me was pissed because we should have had that. We should have had that 12-team playoff for the last 30 years. But oh my God, the Rose Bowl, the Cotton Bowl, the Sugar Bowl. It kept getting in the way of meaningful change that I think would have made everyone happy. What we had last year, that playoff, we should have had for the past 30 or 40 years. So my biggest issue with the 12-team playoff is that it took until 2024 to make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's for the best. I do like this the format here. Now, I think the seating definitely needs to change, my opinion. Even though Ohio State took advantage of it, and I'm not going to complain, but I think the seating needs to change.
I don't know about if Ohio State had, I think, the hardest road to hoe, honestly. I don't know if Ohio State took advantage of it or not, to be honest. They had an insane path to go through.
He did.
In my opinion, of the 4 best teams, Ohio State had to play 2 of them on their way to the playoffs.
Yeah,
they were one of them. And I don't know how good Georgia was by the end of the season anyway. So I don't even know if Georgia even qualified at that point anymore. But Oregon and Texas, I tell you what, right now, I have penciled into my national championship game prediction for this next season as Oregon and Texas. Like, I think those are great programs, and Ohio State had to go through both of them. But anyway, let's talk about, again, like around the national title game, there were 4 separate playoff models being proposed.
Mm-hmm.
Or excuse me, I think it was 3 separate playoff models that were sort of being discussed in the frame of a 14-team playoff. I got these names from CBS Sports. I don't know if these are universal names or not. They're not great names. The 4-4-2-2-2-1-1 model. I'm gonna say that again. The 4-4-2-2-2-1-1 model. This model would include the Big Ten and the SEC each getting 4 auto qualifiers each.
Mm-hmm.
The ACC and the Big 12 getting 2 auto qualifiers each. The group of 5 or group of 6, whatever we're calling it this week, gets an auto qualifier. So basically your top conference champion who isn't from the previously mentioned 4 conferences, and then 1 at-large bid. Thoughts?
For the 14 team,
the 4-4-2-2-2-1-1 model.
I disagree with it. Well, let me pull up what I had here. Where did I put my note here? So I think, in my opinion, I think you need to get the best teams in. I think you need to get the best teams in, but still reward conference champions still.
Okay.
So I still think you have 5 auto bids for the conference champions in the Big Ten, SEC, ACC, Big 12, and the highest group of 6. I'm fine with that.
So you're a fan of the 5+9 model, assuming we go to 14 teams, which I don't even, what is, I don't know. Let me just ask you this question. What's your ideal team count?
Sure. Well, my ideal total count for the conference or for the playoff, I mean, the 14 might be a really good number. The more that I really think about it, just because you're rewarding the SEC and the Big Ten champion, and they get the bye. They get a bye week, and I think I like that. You're rewarding those two, and then the rest of the other 12 teams have to win their way in.
Of course, the Big Ten and the SEC getting said bye is not guaranteed.
I think it should. The way that the college football is going.
Sure.
I think it's lining up that way. We talked about this for years, Jared. We've talked about this for years.
I have seen proposals that would automatically give the Big Ten and the SEC the bye. So you're not alone in that.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this for years that the college football is heading into a semi-pro league where it's the North versus the South, essentially. That's where it's heading to right now. But some other notes I put in here, Jared, for the 14 team model, mentioned about the group of five or the 5 conference champions get in. I also put in here that the conference runners up for the Big Ten and SEC are get auto in as well.
Okay, so on the screen here we have the 5+9 model.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna change this real quick, and I'm gonna make this. Your name's not spelled with an R. Kyle's 5+9 model.
Yeah, so it'd be like 5 plus. It'd be like 5 plus 2. It'd be like 5 plus 2 plus 7.
We don't got to stick to the naming convention. So 5 conference champions.
Yep. The Big Ten and SEC runner up.
Big Ten and SEC RUs.
Yep.
AQ. That's not at all confusing.
Yeah.
So then that would be 7 at large.
Yep.
And the bye weeks are granted to Big Ten and SEC champs.
CC. You can just put CC, like conference champion.
Yeah, we understand. We understand.
But my thing for the rankings here, 1 and 2 is the Big Ten and SEC champ. Those
for the seeding.
For the seeding. Rank those based on, I don't care, based on how the playoff committee ranks them, whatever. But the seeds 3 through 14 aren't based off of who's the conference champion and then go on from there. It's who are the best ones.
Up to the committee.
Then
it's just up to the committee at that point.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
So like, let's say that I saw something in here about Navy getting the group of 6, but then they are, let's just say they're 15th, they're 16th in the playoff rankings. Well, they get the 14th seed then. They don't get a 5th seed because they're a conference champion. They get the last one based on the playoff rankings.
I hear that. Yeah. So just real quick, one of the other 14 team models being rolled around a couple months ago was the 3-3-2-2 model, which was the SEC and the Big Ten getting 3 auto qualifiers each, the Big 12 and the ACC getting 2 auto qualifiers each, the group of 5 getting 1 auto qualifier, and there are 3 at-larges in that model. So basically 2 additional at-larges and 2 or 1 each less from the Big Ten and the SEC. So it's a minor twist on the 4-4 blah, blah, blah model.
Mm-hmm. I'm just looking off of based on what the rankings were last year.
Mm-hmm.
You would put, let's see, SMU was in the Big 12. They were the one Big 12 team to get in. Who would go in? Who would go in? It was.
Does it actually change all that much? Because the Big Ten had.
Well, Florida would go in, and
okay.
Clemson would go in.
Oh well, yeah, because it's 2 extra teams.
Mm-hmm.
Right, of course. But that's basically it. Compared, it doesn't actually. If we would have had that model last year, no one actually would have gotten left out. That just would have added Clemson and Florida. That makes sense.
The SMU was in for the ACC, and Arizona State was in for the ACC. Clemson, for the Big 12. Totally forgot. Clemson did make it as the last seed. I totally forgot about that. Yeah. So yeah, the difference would be Miami would have gotten in.
Okay.
And let's see, it would be a second Big 12 team. Who would have been the second Big 12 team?
Would it have been
Iowa State?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
It would have been Iowa State at 10-3.
So I think
who finished 18th.
I think the lesson learned here is that the Big 12 should not be given 2 auto qualifiers.
Neither should the ACC. Yes, the ACC did get 2 this one in last year's, but I don't think the ACC should get 2.
I tend to agree. I would say one of the big differences there's what's right now, and there's what the conferences will look like 5 years from now, because we're due for another big shuffle in the next, not in the net, but in about 3 to 5 years from now, starting in 2027 through 28, 29, 30. We're due for another conference reshuffling, which will probably lead to the death of the ACC as we know it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think it's pretty easy to foresee Clemson, Miami, Florida State, North Carolina, other teams in the ACC no longer being in the ACC.
Yeah.
So, you know, we can build this model out for now. And I think that's the big part of it, is the for now part of it. But I tell you what, Kyle, let's do a quick ad break. We're going to take a look at the 16 team, or maybe we'll stick with 14 team for a little bit longer. I don't know. We'll see what Kyle wants to do. But for right now, I'm just going to do a quick self promo here. Want to encourage you to check out thesloopcast.com, which is a site that has links to all of our other stuff. You can support us financially at patreon.thesloopcast.com. You can join our Discord community at discord.thesloopcast.com. You can watch our YouTube videos at youtube.thesloopcast.com. If you want to listen to the audio version of this show, you can find us on Spotify. If you want to just plug in the RSS link, it's rss.thesloopcast.com. You can find us wherever you can find podcasts. If there's a podcast service and we're not on it, let me know and I'll fix that. And then we have our merch stores at merch.thesloopcast.com and 7071.thesloopcast.com. Back to the show. Kyle, do you have any additional thoughts, proposals, tweaks, concerns about a 14-team model?
Other than what I said about the seeding, where the conference champions, other than the Big Ten and the SEC, get the higher seeding rankings. I don't think so.
Okay.
But I don't think you really talked about what your thoughts are about my proposal. What do you think about what I proposed?
I think auto qualifying the runner-ups in the Big Ten and the SEC feels unnecessary because it's going to happen anyway. I think the runner-ups in those conferences are going to make it into the 9 remaining spots. So I think it maybe just gives the game away. I mean, what the Big Ten and the SEC are already getting like the bye weeks auto handed to them.
Yeah.
I just think it's maybe not. It's almost like an FU to the other conferences at that point because you're going to get it anyway. These conferences.
It's leaning that way anyway.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but it's. You already
pull
flipped
the
them
Band-Aid off. Just pull the Band-Aid.
You already flipped them off once. You don't need to use the other finger as well, I think. And that's just a little too much frosting on the cake because it's to write that into the rules is so unnecessary because out of the 9 at-large spots, you're of course going to get your conference runner-ups in there.
Sure.
And that's my only real take on it.
Okay.
Also, I think if you're going to 14 teams, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. No, I mean keep it at 5 conference champions. It's I don't know. Part of me sees all of this as kind of an unnecessary exercise, not for us, but for college football, because I think we throw all of this away in like 5 years. But let's talk about the 16 team proposal that is currently taking place. Again, a bunch of different. I don't remember who reported it first, so I apologize for that. But apparently there is a new model that is gaining steam. At least it was leaked to the media as sort of a soft balloon to gauge people's reactions is probably what actually happened. I think I'm a 12 team guy. I still don't like that the NFL moved to 14 teams. I think 12 is a great number. Personally, if you look at the top 25 teams, you take less than half of that. That to me means something. And if you look at the NFL, I liked having 4 bye weeks. I liked having, 4 teams getting byes that, I liked the 12 model in the NFL. I don't like that they went to 14. I would still want 12. In my ideal college football playoff, it stays at 12. 14, I'll learn to deal with, like I have in the NFL. I've learned to deal with 14 in the NFL. 16 teams is a bridge too far.
Each the one that dropped it.
Sorry. Pete?
Yeah.
Pete.
Thamel.
Oh, Pete Thamel. Okay. Yeah, I mean, so again, probably something that got floated to the media to gauge public reaction would be my take on what happened there. So the model that got leaked that is allegedly gaining momentum is a model that I have dubbed, to stick with the stupid nomenclature that I picked up from the CBS article, the 442213 model.
It was like a soccer formation.
Kinda, yeah.
That's way too many on the field there, but
well, it's also too many teams in the playoffs, so we deal with it.
Yes.
So
I agree. 16 is way too many. Way too many.
Is it way too many when you just said that you're starting to favor a 14? It's too many, according to your opinion.
Yeah. I think eventually we're going to get to the point where even 12 is too many.
Sometimes, but you never really know based off of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes 12 is too many. Sometimes 12 won't be enough. So the 42213 model is going to sound pretty familiar, because if we go back over to the 14 team model, the horrendously named 4422211 model, it's just that, but with 2 additional at-large spots. The Big Ten and the SEC will get 4 auto qualifiers each. The ACC and the Big 12 will get 2 auto qualifiers each. There'll be an additional conference champion with an auto qualifier. And now there'll be 3 at-large spots.
I'm just looking here. So if we look at last year's end of season rankings here, Big Ten had 4 in already: Oregon, Penn State, Ohio State, Indiana.
Yeah.
SEC would add Alabama to the mix, to the 3 that they already have with Georgia, Texas, and Tennessee.
Not mad at that. That'd have been fun.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
The ACC already had 2.
They had 2 there. Yes. And then I mentioned the Big 12 would have added. Is it BYU's in the Big 12, aren't they?
Yeah. Would it
BYU? So it would be BYU, not Iowa State. I'm sorry, it would be BYU. BYU would get in.
Okay. So BYU and Arizona State.
Mm-hmm. And who would have been the group of 5?
The same team.
Auto build.
Same team that got the auto qualifier last year.
Is it bad that I forgot who that was?
Oh, Kyle, we know. Well, I know. It was Boise.
That's right, Boise. Yes.
Kyle's life's been a bit hectic lately, y'all. Give him some grace, would you please?
All right. So Boise in. So there's 3 at-larges then. So if I'm going off of last year's, the next 3 that would go in is Notre Dame.
Oh yeah, Notre Dame was in. Got an at-large.
Yep. Miami.
And
then Ole Miss.
I'm not mad at that.
And then the first one out would have been South Carolina.
Honestly, and I shit on the 16 team model, but honestly, that doesn't sound bad. South Carolina didn't belong anywhere near that. You could have made a case for Miami and Ole Miss. You could have made a case there. Alabama gets in as the 4th team in the SEC. Nothing wrong with that. South Carolina didn't belong anywhere near it. So I shit on the 16 team model, but I'm not mad at that. As based off of last year alone, I'm not mad at that. I think that could have been fun. I think my biggest issue would be, I understand that there are politics here, but my biggest issue here would, hey, let's make this a 14 team, but only give the ACC and the Big 12 one auto qualifier. Because I don't think we needed BYU or Iowa State in this.
No.
And then the ACC would have used another one of the one of their spots to, you know, they would have still placed a team. So you would have ended up losing. Who was the last team in? Kyle, you said, would that have been?
So Clemson had the lowest seed, but they got in because they were a conference champion.
Right.
So the last team in, and SMU got in. So
because they
Indiana, it would have been Indiana.
No. In the, you just laid out 16 teams. You basically said who the 3 auto qualifiers were.
Yes. Yeah. And then the first team out is South Carolina. The last team in is Ole Miss.
So I do think I would have preferred a 14 team playoff without Ole Miss and without BYU. Like, I don't think the ACC and the Big 12 need 2 auto qualifiers.
Yeah. So if you took out BYU, so if you took out if you took out ACC and Big 12 only got 1, that would just remove BYU and then insert South Carolina.
It wouldn't insert South Carolina because the ACC still would have retained the same number of teams.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were saying if the ACC and Big 12 only had 1 automatic qualifiers.
That is what I'm saying. But the ACC wouldn't lose any teams in that. You said the last team in was Ole Miss. So if we go down to 14 teams, but with 1 auto qualifier, you would lose the Big 12 auto qualifier.
It would have been the Big 12.
BYU.
Yes. Yep.
And then the last at large would have been, you said, Ole Miss. So those are your 2. And because I assume BYU was rated well below, where was BYU actually rated?
17th.
So yeah, they're still not getting in. So yeah, I still would prefer a 14 team where you lose Ole Miss and you lose BYU. I think that's still my preferred way of going about things.
Okay. See, I think the Big 12 would still only have 1 team based on like if they only had 1 automatic qualifier.
Yeah. They still get SMU. If you drop the auto, okay, hold on. Let me
not SMU, Arizona State.
Excuse me. They should be in the big. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Arizona State. So if we change this to
1,
I can't type Jared's. So we change this to 1, and we change this
to 5.
Okay. 5.
If I do this and take out BYU, so the next 3 or next 5, Ole Miss, South Carolina, and BYU. So BYU would still get in then. If you look at what I took a screenshot there.
Hold on. I'm sorry. This is not what I was proposing. I got confused. This remains at 3 because I'm trying to say, hey, what if it was still a 14 team model?
Okay.
So
okay.
This is actually going 4, 1, 1, 1, 3. So basically your 5 top conference champions, 6 additional slots for the Big Ten and the SEC, or 3 each. So at that point, if we drop this down to a 14 team model, at that point, you actually don't lose any ACC teams because everyone still would have auto qualified, because Clemson would have lost, except they auto qualified because they're the conference champion. So Clemson stays in. Therefore, BYU and South Carolina are, South Carolina was never in. BYU's out because they don't get an extra auto qualifier slot, and Ole Miss is out. So you basically put the line right on Miami, or right below Miami.
Well, the at-large, I think one that we missed here is SMU. So SMU got in as an at-large, as a
ACC. No. That I accounted for that. They're ACC.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. The ACC, even though we took away an auto qualifier slot based off of last year's results, even if we take away one of their auto qualifier slots, they don't actually lose any teams.
Okay. So
because SMU still finished 10th. So, yeah. So based off of last year's results, it would be Oregon, Penn State, Ohio State, Indiana from the Big Ten, Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, Alabama. So we add Alabama based off of last year. Mm-hmm. From the 12 to the 14, we've added Alabama. Clemson auto qualifies for the ACC. Arizona State auto qualifies for the Big 12. The group of 6 champion is Boise, and then Notre Dame, SMU, and Miami. So that's what I'm saying. The ACC doesn't actually lose any slots.
Yeah.
They place the same number of teams. The only difference, you add 2 extra teams based off of my model I just sort of came up with here on the spot. And those 2 extra spots end up going to Alabama because the SEC gained an auto qualifier slot, and will go to Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't hate.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious what everybody else's thoughts are. Like, do you like the current 12s? Well, 12 is going to go away, but which 14? Which
12
14?
12 doesn't go away unless they agree to it. The conference commissioners have not agreed to anything yet. It does look like they want to expand it.
Yeah. What's the model that everybody that you, the listener, likes the best here? Do you like where you get more auto qualifiers for Big Ten and SEC, or do you want it based on the rankings of how the final rankings are, auto bids? Like, yeah, I'm kind of curious what everybody else's thoughts are, because I haven't heard too much in our Discord, discord.theswoopcast.com, always to be plugging. I haven't heard too much in our Discord yet, so I want to kind of open that up with everybody in the Discord here.
I know that the general consensus was that the 16 team was not popular.
Yeah.
I'll say that much. I'm going to say it wasn't popular. All right.
It doesn't add any more. It doesn't add any more weeks. Any more weeks to the playoffs. It's still 4 weeks of playoffs.
Yeah, it's just there's no bye weeks on a 16 team.
There's no bye weeks. That's all it is no bye weeks.
which bye weeks are controversial. I get that. I understand that. All right. Let's do another quick ad break. And I'm going to come back, and Kyle, I've made 2 models that I would like to propose. All right. Back here doing the ad break again. I don't have anything to add that I didn't add last time. Again, if you heard me rattle off all those links in the last ad read, and you're like, oh, Jared, you just named a bunch of links, I didn't follow any of that, just go to thesloopcast.com. It's a campsite page. It's a landing page that hosts all of our other links. It's kind of like if you don't know what a campsite page is, you might know what a link tree site is. It's the same concept. So campsite, link tree, whatever, just go to thesloopcast.com and find all of our links. Back to the show. All right, Kyle, I have a proposal. I have said a couple times now that I feel like we're just kind of wasting time coming up with a brand new playoff system. I like the 12 team. My proposal, this is my first proposal. My first proposal is that we just sort of ride out this 12 team playoff until the thing that happens we all know is going to happens. We know where this is going. Kyle and I have been telling you for years. Everyone else caught up with us a couple years after Kyle and I told you what was going to happen. And now it's just sort of generally accepted knowledge. We know what's happening. We're heading to a 2-conference college football system.
Let me just cross that up real quick. Let's just do that. The AFC and the NFC there, right?
Or North and South. We could also just do North and South. This is where we're going. By the year 2030, 2031, 2032, we're going to have 2 conferences that actually matter. I'm sure the remnants of the Big 12 and the ACC, I would like to see them try to round up the best 20 or so teams they can and turn that into something. I would like that so that you have another conference out there that's at least interesting. But we know where this is heading. Clemson is going to join the SEC. Miami is probably going to join the SEC.
Florida State's going to join one of them.
Florida State's going somewhere. We don't really know where yet. UNC probably headed to the Big Ten.
You saw what Notre Dame agreed to. Like Notre Dame just agreed to.
Probably headed to the Big Ten.
Notre Dame just agreed to a multi-year deal to play Clemson. They're trying to stay independent, but
it's like a 10-year agreement, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A 10-year home and home agreement. So anyway, any teams that matter are heading towards either the Big Ten or the SEC. Straight up. It's happening. Everyone knows it's happening. Let's just get this over with. Kyle, I propose a 12-team playoff that's actually maybe just a 2-team playoff. It's actually maybe a 2-team playoff. That's right. We're going back to just having a national championship game. Everything that's old is new again. We're going back.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to be a national championship game again. The difference being is that the SEC and the Big Ten will have their own independent playoffs of 6 teams each.
Yep.
This is just the old NFL model. This is the old 12-team NFL model. And if in my mind, Kyle and I have kind of disagreed. Is it 20 teams? Is it 24 teams? Is it 26 teams? But we both, let's just say 24. We both generally agree that the Big Ten and the SEC maybe end up settling in about the 24 team range. Maybe it's 26, maybe whatever. So 6 teams from each, which is your top quarter of the conference. That's a good playoff number. The top quarter of your conference is a good playoff number. The top quarter of your league get into the playoffs. Great playoff number. It's hard to get into, but not too hard to get into. The Big Ten has a 6-team playoff. The SEC has a 6-team playoff. And the winner of each conference plays in the national title game. It's painfully simple. And by the way, Kyle, since these are conference title games, since these are conference playoffs, we can just base this off of conference record.
You can. Absolutely.
We don't need, this is the best thing I like about this proposal. No more playoff selection committee.
Yeah.
We're just acting like like a big boy league now. We're just using records now.
Mm-hmm.
No more rankings. None of this crap. We're just acting like a big boy football sports league. Now you might be asking, Jared, what do we do in the meantime? This is a great proposal for 2030 or whatever. Okay, well, what about 2026 and 2027 and 2028? Well, that's where my second proposal comes into play. Kyle, are you ready for this? I'm about to drop some insaneness on you. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready for this?
Lay it on me. Lay it on me.
Just keep the current system, but with reseeding. That's it. Just do reseeding. I don't, this isn't college basketball. We don't have to stick to a bracket. Just after each round reseed. It shouldn't be an argument that the best seed in the college football playoff is the 5th seed. Whether you agree with that assessment or not, there's an argument to be made that the best seed you can get in the college football playoff is number 5. That shouldn't be an argument. That shouldn't be a discussion. How do you fix that?
Well,
You just you do what every other, again, big boy sports league does and just reshuffle the seating after each round. It's what the NFL does. It's what the NBA does. It's what the NHL does. I believe the MLB does it.
I almost want to say the 6th seed almost does as well too. Like look at the comparison between 5 and 6 seed here. So 5 seed Texas played Clemson and then Arizona State. And then Penn State played SMU and Boise State. You could almost say that the 6th seed might be better.
I hear you. I hear that. But you understand my point regardless.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
This shouldn't be a conversation. You just reseed after each round. This is what the big boy leagues do. This isn't college basketball. We're never going to get bracketology for college football.
Okay. So let's back up here. So if we reseed, so let's look last year, we reseeded. If we reseeded.
Yeah.
It stays the same.
No way.
All right. Texas and Arizona State, 5 and 4 seed.
Okay.
Ohio State, Oregon, 1 and 8 seed.
Okay.
So Ohio State was the lowest seed, 8. Penn State was a 6 seed, play Boise State, a 3 seed. And then Georgia, number 2 seed, play the second lowest at Notre Dame, a 7 seed.
Fascinating. Now,
Okay. All right, let's do the semifinals.
Okay.
Ohio State, the lowest seed, 8 seed, play the high seed, Texas, a 5 seed. So it was reseeding without reseeding, Jared.
Okay, listen. Blind squirrel find nut. Got it. Ohio State shouldn't have been ranked eighth. Got it.
Yeah.
The real tragedy there was ranking Ohio State 8th. Acknowledged. I mean, that also goes into what you were saying before about not seeding. Okay, so here's the other thing. Okay, keep the current system, but with reseeding. Okay, we can do auto qualifiers for the other conference champions if you want to, but let's not lie and say that they're the 4th and 5th or the 3rd and 4th seeds when they're not. How about that?
Yeah. Yep.
Like, okay, you can get a bye week, but you're still the 8th best team.
Yeah, I don't.
How about
and
that?
It goes back to my whole thing. Like Boise State never should have been a 3 seed, and Arizona State never should have been a 4 seed.
Yes, but they can still have. But here's the thing, though, Kyle. They can still have the bye week. They can still have the bye week. I'll let you won your conference. You were the 3rd and 4th best teams, according to the playoff committee, to win their conferences. You can still have your bye week. But I'm still ranking you where you should be ranked to make the reseeding appropriate.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying?
That would be really confusing.
I don't care. Listen, everything in college football is a little bit confusing. That's kind of the beauty of the sport. So yeah, you can get your bye week, but I'm still going to rank you, 8th, 10th, 11th, 12th, not 9th though. So, okay. Two amendments to the current system, 2 amendments. So I did mine, and Kyle sort of correctly calls out the other half of it. So that is now Kyle and I's proposal for how to fix the current 12-team playoff. All right, Kyle. Do you have a different opinion of what the playoff system should be now versus 50, 60 minutes ago?
I still think that it should be ranked based on your playoff rankings, not if you're a conference champion, you get a auto bid.
So you want at large across the board.
Mm-hmm.
See, here's the thing.
Well, no. Conference champions still get in. Champions still get in, but you don't get the top 4 or 5 seeds. You just get in based on where you're ranked.
So basically, like college basketball,
like Clemson. Clemson got in. They were the 5th. They were the lowest seeded conference champion, and they went in on the 12th seed. Boise State should have been like the 11th seed, et cetera, like that too, or wherever they're ranked too. Not a 3rd seed.
I hear that. But how do you feel about making them the number 12 seed, but still giving them the bye week? Well, they wouldn't have. They were the 5th. But okay, let's talk about Boise. Give Boise. No, Arizona State. Excuse me. It's Arizona State. It's Arizona State.
Arizona State, yeah.
Arizona State is seed 11, but still gets a bye week because they won their conference. Crazy? Is that a little too crazy?
don't hate it, but I don't like it as well.
Okay. All right.
I could get into that.
Well, because
I never really thought about it.
So here's the thing. Unless we do reseeding, it doesn't actually matter.
Yeah.
If we do reseeding,
Correct.
it matters a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So unless we do reseeding, it actually doesn't actually matter at all what the number is, because the bracket's just set at that point.
Sure.
Do people know what I mean when I say reseeding?
If not, come on over to the Discord and we can help you out.
Yeah. I'm not going to explain it. We're at the end of the show. I'm not going to explain it. Kyle, do you have anything in Kyle's corner?
Do I have anything in Kyle's corner?
That's what I asked.
You want to know some
Yes.
Some from former Ohio State football players and their new jersey numbers of where they're going.
NFL?
Their NFL numbers, yeah.
Yes, I do.
Will Howard, Jack Sawyer, Travion Henderson, Josh Simmons, and Donovan Jackson are keeping their numbers.
Nice.
JT is going from 44. It's a lot easier to
do that in the NFL now that the NFL doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to say they don't have number restrictions, but it's just offensive linemen now.
JT is going from 44 to 91. It's a bit of a difference. Going to see that. Cody Ransom. Wow. I just mixed two together. Cody Simon going from 0 and adding a 5 in front of it.
Okay. 50 is a good linebacker number.
Yeah. Ransom is going to 22. Judkins.
That's a good safety number. It's a good safety number.
Judkins is going to 10.
Okay.
That's a running back. Ibuka is going to 9.
Okay.
So a single number for him. Tyleek is going to 78. Hamilton is going to 57.
Okay.
Hancock is 37. And Denzel Burke is going to 29.
29. I like 29. I think 29 is an underrated number.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for a defensive back.
I think the two big ones I like here is seeing Travion keeping his number and Will Howard keeping his number.
Nothing wrong with consistency.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's actually Will Howard's whole thing. You stop and think about it.
Yeah. Consistency.
All right. Anything else in Kyle's corner?
Nothing big. There's a lot of movement, a lot of offers Ohio State has done. Offers being made and all that, but we'll save that for another episode.
Yeah. We just did a mock class a few weeks ago. I will say though, I've already changed the mock class many times since then. And if you want to see the latest version of the mock class, discord.thesloopcast.com, I constantly update the mock class and you can come just take a look at it anytime you want. discord.thesloopcast.com. Whenever we do those episodes, that's just a snapshot of what it was that week. Constantly changing, constantly moving.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything else?
I think that's it. I think we'll call that a wrap.
All right. Tonight's ending band from Columbus. They are called Slimfit. That's one word, Slimfit. And with all that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to drink local beer, listen to local music, and of course, support your local podcasters. Once again, this is Slimfit.